All right, so we're running out of time, JD. Let's do a fun little segment before we go, though. That is going to be a new segment we do every couple of podcasts moving forward called "Who's the Guy?" Okay, so the guy today is going to be Damian Lillard, and Dame probably had the best stat line of his entire career, putting up 32.2 points, 7.3 assists. He was third in scoring and 10th in ball facilitation in the NBA this year at 32 years old. So my question, JD, is who is the guy? Who are you going to take? And we're going to start with Damian Lillard or Kyrie Irving.
Dame versus Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for me, this is kind of a no-brainer. I think Kyrie, he's had some problems off the court. I think that he's kind of a liability when it comes to that type of stuff. So I'm probably taking most players over Kyrie Irving. But based just solely off of talent,
fair.
I still will probably be taking Dame. I think Dame, he can be an assist-heavy leader as well. And he can shoot the ball well. Kyrie is an incredible ball handler. In my opinion, probably the best ball handler in the league right now. But I like Dame. I think Dame is maybe a little bit older than Kyrie, but he's still got years left in him to really thrive and succeed in the role. What do you think, Doc?
I would take Dame. Absolutely. I think Kyrie Irving, and I'm just going to be critical here. Kyrie Irving is a absolute dumpster fire and ruins every single team that he goes on. It's just, what has he done besides winning a ring with the Cavs back in like 2016?
With LeBron James.
With LeBron James. He went over to Boston, got hurt, couldn't help them whatsoever in that postseason. Good thing Jaylen Brown and Tatum emerged to take them to the ECF that year. He leaves there. He goes to the Nets. That's a complete crapshoot. He doesn't get vaccinated. He doesn't play. He hasn't played a full series of games since like 2016. He plays half a season. He causes problems everywhere he goes. He gets on social media and says terribly heinous things. And he's just a problem overall. It's a locker room issue. And I'm sorry, like at some point, like you could be the best player in the world, but if you can't play with a team, what good are you? So I'd take Dame all day. All right, next guy, we're going to do Dame versus Chris Paul.
For me, this is another no-brainer. I think Chris Paul is he's peaked about a few years ago. He's kind of running out of steam. You can kind of tell he doesn't really make the plays he used to. He doesn't shoot as much as he used to. He's having to heavily rely on Booker as well as Kevin Durant and the other players. He has a great mentality about him. I think he helped DeAndre Ayton become the player that he is right now. He's definitely a great player, a near star. And when he came out of the draft, he just wasn't looking too hot. So Chris Paul, he really has that leadership role who can really affect a team in a positive way. But I think Dame, Dame could also be a leader. Dame wants to win. He's got a competitive nature. He is just an absolute star. Like you mentioned before, he's probably had the best year he's ever had shooting-wise and assists. He's just like an incredible player. I still think that he can be a number one option on a championship team. I'm taking Dame.
Yeah, I am too. Absolutely. I think that the reason Portland has not been successful has nothing to do with Damian Lillard at all. I think that and once again, I don't mean to be critical, but it's a podcast and that's what we have to do sometimes. I think the front office in Portland has been completely unsuccessful with putting anything around Dame to help him be successful. This guy's out there playing his heart out every single night. He's clutch. He's gotten you to the Western Conference Finals before, and you're really telling me you failed to put a team around him? That's just inexcusable. And not only that, Dame is so loyal to the soil, he never talks about it. Everyone else talks about it. Dame never says a word about it. That's the kind of player I want in Utah. If he became available, I'd snatch him up in a heartbeat. All right, let's do Dame versus Tyrese Halliburton, the new first-time All-Star.
No, I think this one's a little bit more tougher. When I think of Halliburton, I think of a future superstar, a guy who's probably already a superstar, an incredible passer, a guy who has a great upside. And I think this is going to be, it's varied from team to team. I
Hmm.
think if you're a team who is not trying to win right now, maybe a team like the Lakers, maybe a team like the Nuggets, those teams that are, trying to win a championship right now, maybe teams who are already contenders, you'd be taking Dame versus a team who's maybe on the precipice of becoming a contender. Maybe those eighth, seventh seeds or below might be taking Halliburton, who's a younger guy, who's got a tremendous upside, who can be an incredible player. I still think Dame, he's 32, but he's got 2 to 3 years of still being really great. I mean, look at Steph Curry, a guy who just turned 35. Is that right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Just
Dame.
turned 35.
He's still got a lot in him too. And Steph, maybe Steph's not that MVP caliber player like he was a few years ago, but Steph's still Steph. And I think
Yep.
Dame will still be Dame. So, it varies. If I'm Utah, I'm taking Halliburton.
I think I would take Dame Lillard again. I'm just a huge fan of this guy, and even though Tyrese Halliburton this year, in my opinion, was the best point guard in the NBA, because when you think about what a point guard does, they facilitate ball movement, right? They're the floor general, and he proved to be the most efficient floor general outside of James Harden in terms of assist to turnover ratio. I think that he has a bright future. I love Tyrese, and he makes something about him too that I noticed is when he got injured, his team tanked hard, and it's because Tyrese makes everybody better. He's not just looking for his own buckets. He like Benedict Mathurin was in the Rookie of the Year conversation because his catch and shoot numbers were electric because of Halliburton. When Halliburton left, Benedict Mathurin slowly started dropping off. He didn't look as good. But still, I'm a huge fan of Dame. And when you can put up numbers like that at 32 years old, I agree with you. I think that he has a similar style of play that Steph Curry does. And I think as long as he stays healthy, he's going to continue to play at that caliber for like at least another 3 years. I think he has that in him. All right. Our next one is going to be Dame versus Jamal Murray.
Let's see. This one for me, I think I'm choosing Dame. I think that Murray, he has a lot of talent. I think that he's a great player, but I think Dame is just a tier above him, and I think he'll be a tier above him for the next few years. I like Murray. I like what he can do and what he can bring to a team, but I think I'm going to take Dame, maybe for most all teams as well.
So this one is tricky for me because Jamal had that MCL tear that totally just took him out of commission. And he was such a clutch player in the bubble. That's when he like really emerged into the Jamal Murray that we all kind of know and love. Something I did notice this year that I really like is he came back, he averaged 20 points, he had a pretty solid season. Since the postseason has started, his numbers have jumped up considerably. So he's gone from 20 points to 28 points, and he's gone from 5 assists to almost 8. So there is a playoff mentality, and this works for some players where it doesn't versus others. Guys like LeBron James, Giannis, Jimmy Butler, Jamal Murray, Donovan Mitchell, there's like a playoff switch for some of these higher end guys where they're like, hey, it's time to like turn it on. And like, I think that shows a mastery of athleticism and understanding your craft. And Jamal Murray has that. So if he had never gotten hurt, I think that he would be an even more devastating point guard and player. But I would love to see him return to form. I would love that. But I'm also going to go with Dame because Dame is Dame. And the reason the Trailblazers suck is not because of him. It's because of Portland's front office, period. Mm-hmm. All right, our last one is going to be Dame Lillard versus Aeron Fox, the most clutch player of the year, right?
Yeah, and this is tough for me. I really like Dame. I really like Fox. I think both players bring maybe different aspects. I think Fox is a young, really quick guy who's absolutely clutch, who I think you could rely on to be a number one option and just score the lights out. With Dame, he can also score. He could also be a number one option, but he also brings, really good passing, maybe some really good leadership. It's kind of tough for me. I think that it varies again from team to team. If you're a team that already has some players who dominate the ball, I'm probably going to be taking Dame. Maybe like the Lakers. I think that if they had the choice, they're probably taking Dame. They've got guys who already control the ball quite a bit. With other teams, though, I think Fox has proven that he can be a bucket getter. And if you need a guy who does that and you already have a good background, with defensive players, with guys who can, be around the perimeter, Fox would be a great pickup. If I'm Utah, I'm a Utah Jazz fan. It's a tough one. I think that I am going to be choosing Fox. I think Fox, he's still got quite a few years in him. With Markkanen paired up with him, I think Markkanen could be a number one option. I think that he could just as well be a number two option, off the ball, cutting in the basket, open threes type of guy. And Fox could be, the bucket getter. I probably would be taking Fox. Who are you taking, Doc?
I'm going to take Fox as well. Fox is more athletic. He's just barely starting to hit this stride. He was third team. He's going to be third team All-NBA. And so even though Dame's going to be first team All-NBA, Dame is going to eventually start to decline where Fox is going to continue to hit the incline. And Fox is athletic. He is incredible with under pressure, not to say that Dame isn't, but I would just take Fox because I think that between, even if they lose to Golden State this year, which they very well could, next year, he's going to be a different player. He's going to be even better. Like Fox is just going to get better and better. And I think that one's going to be a no-brainer. I would roll the dice on a Fox all day.
What's interesting about this one too, Doc, is that if a team has a number one option, maybe if you look at the Cavs, a team like that, or with the Bucks, you're probably going to be choosing Dame. I think he's a good complementary piece who can, provide assists, off-ball threes, who doesn't need to necessarily dominate the ball. With Fox, though, I think he's just such a great player. He's so aggressive and dominant. If you don't have like a real championship number one option, or you don't think you do, I would be taking Fox.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at Fox too, even in this playoff series, look what he's doing against Golden State, they're a team they are not slouches on defense.
No.
They've thrown Wiggins at him. They've thrown Draymond Green at him. They threw GP2 at him. And it didn't matter. And those are the three best defenders on Golden State. They threw all of them at D Fox, and none of it mattered. He still gets his buckets. He still finds a way to score. Like the kid's, he's amazing. All right, guys, thank you so much. I think we're going to wrap it up here, but I think we're going to be dropping something Friday too, right? Or Thursday. All right. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.